It's confidence. How do you develop confidence? If you don't have it, how do you develop it? Little Ben Hooper. Little Ben Hooper was born at a time in this country, if you didn't know who your father was, you were ostracized. You were not as good as the other kids. All the other kids all had a father. And if you didn't know who yours was, you were not at their level. And he and his mother would go to the local general store at that time, and these self-righteous ladies would say in a whisper you could only hear about a mile away, I wonder if he knows who his father is. And then they'd say, I wonder if she knows who his father is. So little Ben was a loner. And when he went to school, he stayed by himself. And at recess, he stayed inside and didn't go outside. And just became a loner. And he heard about this new preacher in town, this young, enthusiastic preacher. And so he decided one Sunday he'd go and see what the guy was about. So he went to this church and he listened. And for the first time in his life, little Ben started getting hope. If there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. So every Sunday he would go to church. And this church had a ritual. At the end of the church, the preacher would ask someone to say a prayer. And then the preacher would go to the back of the room and shake hands with everybody. Well, little Ben didn't want to be shaking no hands, so he always left just a little early. Well, this one Sunday, boy, this preacher was talking just to him. And he was telling him it didn't matter where he had been. The only thing that mattered is where you're going. And I mean, he was talking right to little Ben. And all of a sudden, this guy's praying. So little Ben is trying to sneak out the door. And he feels his hand on his shoulder. And he turns around and he's looking right into the eyes of that preacher. And the preacher then asked the question that everybody had asked for so many years. Whose child are you? And before little Ben could say anything, the preacher leaned back and said, why, I know whose child you are. The resemblance is remarkable. You are a child of God. Now go out there and get those treasures you richly deserve. Little Ben Hooper said that was the day he was elected governor of Tennessee and later re-elected governor of Tennessee. He said that was the day he went from being the son of an unknown father to being the son of a king. Well, if you're the son of a king, makes you a prince. You can't be a prince, you might as well be governor. The truth of it is, what changed that day? Little Ben's self-respect. All of a sudden he realized he was as good as anybody else. Not better, but not worse. He was just as good as anybody else. And with adequate preparation, he could do anything. And so it completely changed him. So he had the formula. Self-respect, preparation. And if he did not have that self-respect, he would have never gotten to where he got to. And that's the same way with us. You have two things necessary for confidence: self-respect, preparation. When you have those two, you're going to be confident. And when you're confident, you'll be the best you that you can be.